Yes, AFM Market Update with Moneyweb is brought to you by Discovery Invest. Success is inevitable because Discovery now brings you investments. And it's been another chaotic day on the markets, and while the all-share ended the day up just over 1.5%, it could have been 3% higher this morning, and it could have been a lot lower than that as well. So it was a pretty bumpy ride. And we'll get commentary on all of those market moves from Sasfin's David Shapiro a little later. We also get insight from Regarding Capital Management's Piet Viljoen. And then, in light of yesterday's announcement by Brait and the fact that a lot of people have been saying that there's a lot of value in this market at the moment, we thought we'd chat to a few of the people that would have been spending a lot of money if they could afford it. And that's the South African Venture Capital and Private Equity Association head, JP Fourie. We're going to chat about private equity, what it is, why it's not working at the moment, and why it should be. And finally, in the Gold Start, we chat to RBC's Leon Esterhazen. But first, here's the news. Now here's Chris Buchanan with the business headlines.
Telkom's credit rating under scrutiny after the Vodacom deal. SAB Miller starts to feel the competition. The rand breaks 9 to the dollar. It may head to 8.60, and the US takes the British approach to recapitalizing its banks. JSE overall index up 3% to 22,117. Gold at $837 a fine ounce. A barrel of Brent at $76. The rand at 9 rand to the dollar, 15.72 to the pound, and 12 rand 28 to the euro.
Well, Sasfin's David Shapiro joins us now. David, you said we needed at least a couple more days of good moves, green trading, so to speak, on the markets. Are we there yet?
We had a good day today. In fact, I'm not quite sure what happened, but just before we closed, we were up about 1.5%, but by close, we were up 3%. And I think a lot of local shares are being pushed up, particularly Resources, Kumba and Sasol, amongst today's big risers. Kumba 11%, Kumba 12%, Sasol 11%. And we saw similar moves on industrials and financials. But Jeff, it's all over the place. I just listened to Chris's introduction. I mean, the rand now as well is over 9 again. Also, Wall Street has gone through a number of movements. It started up, it went down, it's up again, now it's down. So I think that's the kind of volatility that we're having to deal with, and it just shows you how impossible it is to actually read the market. But I think we're a lot more comfortable than we were maybe on Friday, and particularly Paulson's new plan, I think, probably the right move.
I mean, David, how do you conceptualize that sort of amount of money? I mean, you talk about in Europe it's $1.8 trillion. That's something like 47 times the Eskom expansion plan.
I think it just puts us into perspective. It just shows you how small we are in relation to the global economy and just how big the United States is. But I mean, when it's got problems, they're huge problems as well. But it is difficult. The plan is that hopefully these banks, if they do recover, if money starts to flow again and their profits prop up, they can actually buy back these shares within 3 years. I'm not sure under which terms, but it's something that was absolutely needed. But it's going to cost the taxpayer. It's whichever way you look at it, if they're creating money, which I think has to have some consequences on the overall economy somewhere down the line. And I think these are the issues that we have to now digest. But I think, Jeff, going ahead, just going back on what I said yesterday, I believe that from now on, once this is out the way, once a little bit of confidence returns, we're then going to start focusing on inflation. We're going to focus on corporate profits. Can they sustain previous levels? Where corporate profits going to go? What is a good sign is that we are seeing interbank rates come down, fairly briskly, which means that some kind of lending is taking place. But it's a process of convalescence, of reconciliation, I think, over the next few months.
David, a brief look at some of the corporate news out. Not much. SAB Miller putting out a trading statement. Clearly, Heineken seems to be making headway here.
They are making headway, I think, with Amstel, sure. And it's amazing how, what a good favorite Amstel is. I don't think their Mars and Gold has taken off at all. Just judging by the bottles that are left around, a Bry or something like that. It's still Amstel. But I think it was one of the few shares that came down today. It was down about 330 cents. I'm just looking here. What is that in percentage terms? It's down 2%, whereas broadly the overall market was all up. So it was one of the few top 40 shares that actually ended in the red. So yeah, the market a bit nervous about it. Also, Malcolm Wyman said that the 1% growth in volumes is obviously going to affect their profitability.
David Shapiro is with Sasfin.